Hi friends! Welcome to my YouTube channel, English Language and Wisdom. In this channel, we upload very interesting and knowledgeable videos which will definitely boost your English listening, reading, and speaking skills. Friends, today's topic is my journey to London and the challenges of poor English. Please try to listen the whole story so that your brain become active and start catching the new things gradually. Let's begin the lesson. My journey to London began with a mixture of excitement and anxiety. It was my first time traveling abroad, and the prospect of exploring a new culture and city was thrilling. However, my limited English skills cast a shadow over my anticipation, filling me with nervousness about the challenges I might face. Leaving my home country was both exhilarating and daunting. At the airport, I struggled to understand the announcements and signs in English. Simple tasks like navigating security and boarding the plane became complicated as I relied on gestures and the kindness of strangers to guide me through. On the plane, I was seated next to a friendly British couple who tried to engage me in conversation. My limited vocabulary and fear of making mistakes kept our interactions brief and awkward. As they spoke about their travels, I found myself retreating into silence, feeling increasingly isolated by my inability to communicate effectively. Landing at Heathrow Airport, I was immediately overwhelmed by the bustling crowds and the constant stream of English conversations. The reality of my language barrier hit me hard as I struggled to follow the signs and instructions to reach customs. The fear of getting lost or misunderstood grew with every step. At customs, I faced my first major hurdle. The officer asked me several questions, and I found it difficult to respond clearly. My broken English and heavy accent made the exchange frustrating for both of us. After several attempts to explain myself, I was finally allowed to proceed, but the experience left me shaken.
With my luggage in tow, I needed to find transportation to my hotel. Approaching the information desk, I tried to explain my destination. Understanding the directions they gave me was a struggle, but after several clarifications, I managed to get a clear set of instructions. The effort was exhausting, but I was relieved to be making progress. The taxi ride to my hotel was a blend of awe and frustration. The driver was friendly and tried to chat with me, but his fast-paced English was difficult to follow. As we drove through the city, I marveled at the sights of London, but felt a pang of frustration at my inability to engage in conversation and fully enjoy the experience. Checking into the hotel was another challenging task. The receptionist spoke quickly, and I struggled to understand the details of my stay. Handing over my documents, I relied on context and gestures to complete the process. That first night in London, I felt a mix of exhaustion and loneliness. The city was vibrant and full of possibilities, but my language barrier made me feel like an outsider. The next day, determined to explore London, I ventured out with a map and a few basic phrases. Navigating the city and reading signs proved more difficult than I had anticipated. Visiting famous landmarks like the Tower of London and the British Museum was both exhilarating and intimidating. While I admired the rich history and architecture, I felt disconnected, struggling to understand the information provided by guides and displays. Finding a place to eat presented another challenge. Reading menus and ordering food in English was daunting. I often resorted to pointing at pictures or choosing familiar words to make my selections. The fear of misunderstanding or being misunderstood was ever present, making each meal a stressful experience. One evening, I met a group of fellow travelers at the hotel lounge. They were friendly and spoke English fluently. I wanted to join their conversations and share my experiences, but my poor language skills held me back. I listened more than I spoke, missing out on opportunities to connect and build friendships. Navigating the London Underground was a true test of patience and comprehension. The fast-paced environment and complex map were overwhelming. I struggled to understand the announcements and directions, often ending up on the wrong train or platform. Despite the frustration, I persevered, determined to master the public transportation system. Shopping for souvenirs and essentials was another hurdle. Understanding prices, asking for assistance, and making purchases were all complicated by my limited English. I relied on nonverbal cues and the patience of shopkeepers to get by, often feeling embarrassed by my lack of fluency. Throughout my trip, I encountered several cultural misunderstandings. Simple interactions, like greeting someone or asking for help, were fraught with potential missteps. My limited English made it hard to navigate these social nuances smoothly, leading to moments of confusion and awkwardness. Hoping to immerse myself in the local culture, I attended a music festival. The energy and excitement were palpable, but my inability to understand the performers and interact with other attendees made me feel isolated in the crowd. I realized that language was a crucial part of fully experiencing and enjoying such events. One day, while exploring a less touristy part of the city, I got lost. Asking for directions from passers-by was a struggle. My broken English and their hurried responses left me feeling more confused and anxious. It was a stark reminder of the difficulties I faced in a foreign environment. I relied heavily on translation apps and online resources to bridge the language gap. These tools were helpful but not foolproof. Misunderstandings still occurred, and I often wished I could communicate more naturally and confidently. Each interaction felt like a challenge to overcome. Determined to find some structure and support, I joined a guided tour. The guide was knowledgeable and spoke clearly, but I still found it hard to keep up with the fast pace and detailed explanations. I missed much of the context and depth of the information shared, feeling like I was only skimming the surface of the experience. Midway through my trip, I fell ill. Communicating my symptoms and understanding the doctor's instructions at a local clinic was incredibly stressful. My limited vocabulary and inability to express myself clearly made the experience frightening and frustrating. I felt vulnerable and wished I could articulate my needs better. Despite the challenges, I tried to learn new words and phrases each day. I carried a small notebook to jot down useful expressions and practice them whenever I could. Slowly, I began to feel slightly more confident in my ability to communicate. Each small step forward was a victory. I made countless mistakes while speaking English. There were moments of embarrassment and frustration, but each mistake was also a learning opportunity. I began to embrace these errors as part of my journey to improve my language skills. The willingness to keep trying, despite setbacks, became my greatest asset. I met a kind local who offered to help me practice English. We met several times during my stay, engaging in simple conversations and language exercises. This informal tutoring provided a safe space to make mistakes and learn from them, significantly boosting my confidence. As I became more familiar with the city, I ventured into different neighborhoods. Each area had its unique charm and challenges. Navigating these diverse environments helped me build practical language skills and cultural understanding. The city started to feel more accessible. I was touched by the hospitality of many Londoners. Despite my poor English, people were generally patient and helpful. Their kindness made me feel more comfortable and encouraged me to keep trying to communicate. These positive interactions were invaluable. I found a short-term language class for travelers. The lessons were tailored to practical communication skills, focusing on everyday situations. The supportive environment and structured learning helped boost my confidence and proficiency, making daily interactions less intimidating. As my trip progressed, I took time to reflect on my journey and the progress I had made. Each small victory, like successfully ordering a meal or asking for directions, was a step towards overcoming my language barrier. I began to appreciate the learning process and my own resilience. I connected with a group of international travelers at my language class. We shared similar struggles and supported each other. This sense of community made a significant difference, providing emotional and practical support. It was comforting to know I was not alone in my challenges. Gradually, I began to embrace London more fully. I explored its parks, markets, and cultural sites with a newfound sense of confidence. The city felt less intimidating as I grew more comfortable navigating it. My improving language skills opened up new opportunities for exploration and enjoyment. By the end of my trip, I noticed a marked improvement in my English. While still far from fluent, I could communicate more effectively and confidently. This progress was a testament to my perseverance and the support of those I met along the way. I felt a sense of accomplishment. As my journey neared its end, I prepared for the trip home. Reflecting on my experiences, I felt a mix of pride and gratitude. Despite the challenges, I had grown significantly in both language skills and self-confidence. The journey had been transformative. Saying goodbye to the friends I had made was bittersweet. They had been a crucial part of my journey, helping me navigate the language and culture of London. I promised to stay in touch and continue practicing my English, grateful for the connections I had formed. On my final day, I revisited some of my favorite spots in the city. I felt a sense of accomplishment, having overcome numerous obstacles and embraced new experiences. London had become a place of personal growth and cherished memories, leaving a lasting impact on me. The flight home was different from the journey to London. I felt more confident and less anxious about communicating in English. I even managed to have a brief conversation with my seatmate, a small but significant victory that underscored my progress. Back home, I reflected on my journey and the challenges I had faced. The experience had taught me resilience, patience, and the importance of continuous learning. My poor English had been a barrier, but it had also been a catalyst for growth, pushing me to improve and adapt. Determined to keep improving, I enrolled in an English course and joined a language exchange group. The journey to London had sparked a deep desire to master the language and connect more deeply with the world around me. I embraced the learning process with renewed motivation. I shared my story with friends and family, hoping to inspire others facing similar challenges. My journey was a testament to the power of perseverance and the importance of stepping out of one's comfort zone. I encouraged them to embrace their own learning journeys with courage and determination. Reflecting on my experiences, I realized that